The change from blue to red and yellow. This is for you, Kathy. As the close of bluebonnet season nears and they lose their white tops and quickly go to seed, we begin a whole new show of red and yellow. Two of the yellow plants we find today are in the aster family. The red firewheels are in the gaillardia family. Two of the most abundant plants we find are the Indian blanket or firewheels and also the coreopsis or tickseed. They line the roadsides with their brilliant colors. It's unbelievable the way they shine. They have a show of their own, not to be topped by bluebonnets. I love these old wooden fences that were built by the German immigrants that came over many years ago to settle in the Texas Hill Country. I also thought this little tractor was just cute as a bug. I caught this old car just hanging out among the firewheels and the coreopsis. It sure does look happy in its final resting place, doesn't it? It was such a great opportunity that I stumbled upon this automobile. I wondered who it belonged to. And of course the bees are busy at work collecting as much pollen as they can off these beautiful flowers. I can see why they call them firewheels. The Native Americans called them Indian blanket. I'll tell you a legend about that here towards the end. And the butterflies are busy doing their thing too. Gotta love these pollinators. Here we have coreopsis, also known as tickseed. The Native Americans boiled the flowers to make a type of beverage. The roots were steeped into a tea that eased the symptoms of diarrhea and abdominal discomforts. Folklore indicates that the tea was also supposed to protect the drinker from being hit by lightning. Early settlers also believed that stuffing their mattresses with the dried plants would help repel bed bugs. The Zuni women believed that if they wanted a daughter, the tea would help conceive one as well. Isn't it pretty? I just love coreopsis and it's very abundant. Now I bet you guys thought I was just crazy about the bluebonnets. It's not true. I love all the wildflowers. They're all so special and so brilliant in their own beauty. I love seeing the butterflies and the bees flit around and do their work. And of course you have all the birds singing and chirping their harmonious song. It really is lovely. Springtime brings me such a peace inside my heart that really no other time of year does. This yellow field of coreopsis set behind the firewheel, and then against that big, beautiful blue Texas sky, I'm telling you guys, it just doesn't get any better. If you've never been down to the Texas Hill Country to see some of this beauty for yourself, I encourage you to do so. Some of my favorite shots are the firewheels combined with the old cedar post barbed wire fences. Rudbeckia hirta, commonly called black-eyed Susan, is a North American flowering plant in the sunflower family. It's native to eastern and central North America and naturalized in the western part of the continent as well as in China. The plant is also a traditional Native American medicinal herb in several tribal nations, believed in most cultures to be a remedy, among other things, for colds, flu, infection, swelling, and topically by poultice for snake bite, although not all parts of the plants are edible. Just who was Susan and why did she have a black eye? The legend says that the name Black-Eyed Susan originated from an Old English poem written by John Gay, entitled Sweet William's Farewell to Black-Eyed Susan. The poem was about how these wildflowers and Sweet William plant bloom together beautifully. Well, she must be looking for him because I don't see Sweet William anywhere. I strive to bring the peace and the beauty of the wildflowers to the person who is looking at the image. I hope this translates over for you. It is my goal, and the whole reason that I did become a photographer. I wanted to share this beauty so badly with others that could not get out and see it for themselves. I think that is really important. We have to remember that sometimes people are in situations where they don't get out. And I hope I'm fulfilling my part of the bargain, the agreement with God, that if He got me out here and helped me pursue my photography career, He would provide, and He has. The most important part for me is finding something to go with these fabulous landscapes, whether it's windmills, abandoned train tracks, or what have you. It always adds an element to the wildflower scene. Just taking a picture of a wildflower can sometimes just be maybe a little boring. Those close-ups are great and all, but I really love it when I stumble upon scenes like this. In 1887, Reverend Thomas A. Broad began construction on a handsome two-story sandstone house north of Mason's Courthouse Square on Comanche Creek. The house was later purchased in 1891 by Edward M. Reynolds, a banker from New York, who hired the German architect Richard Gross to remodel and enlarge the house. In 1919, the property was sold to a Swedish immigrant named Oscar Sequest, after which the family made several improvements on the house. Oscar died in 1933, leaving his widow Ada to care for the mansion until her death in 1972. The Sequest son and daughter-in-law, Garner and Clara Sequest, began the first major refurbishment of the house in 1972. Work was completed in the summer of 1973, and for the first time the mansion was open to public for tours. It received a Texas State Historical Marker in 1974 and is listed on the National Register of Historic Places. The Sequest House Foundation purchased the house in January of 2015 and continues to restore the property. If you're in Mason, Texas, I encourage you to go and take the tour of this lovely mansion. Once the braves of a certain tribe went on the warpath, leaving their wives and children at home. The wife of the greatest chief of the tribe spent long hours weaving a blanket for her warrior husband. Her little daughter loved to play in its folds, pretending she and her father were together. Into the blanket, the mother wove the bright hues of red and orange, each pattern a symbol of a prayer to the Great Spirit to protect her husband and bring him safely home. One day, the little girl, who considered the birds and flowers and insects her playmates, chased after a butterfly and became lost in the woods. Night came on, and although she searched and searched, she could not find her way out of the woods. Worn out, she lay down in a clearing and asked the Great Spirit to send her the blanket belonging to her father to keep her warm during the night. Then she fell asleep. The next morning, she opened her eyes. She found herself covered with flowers of the same bright hues of those of her father's blanket, flowers new to the land. When her father and the other braves found her, she showed them her blanket of flowers, and the people decided to name the flowers Indian Blanket. I hope you feel the arms of the Creator holding you tight and keeping you safe. How can you help me to keep bringing you great creative content? There's a link for that in the description below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and also enjoy the journey.